Welcome to GamezMadeEZ. I'm Dan Z. Today, we look at the 1 to 4 player tile placement city builder Suburbia Inc, created by Ted Alspaugh and produced by Bezier Games. This is the first expansion to the base game, Suburbia. I will be teaching the game as if they were both released together. This will still cover everything you need to play, just the base game. Let's see whose borough of the city will be the most populated by the end of the game. Let's open the box and set it up. Group all hex tiles into their different groups A, B, and C. Shuffle each group and draw tiles randomly to create a pile that matches the number shown on the player board that matches the number of players. For 3 players, you need 18 A's, 15 B's, and 21 C's. The C pile of 21 is created slightly differently. You create a pile of 9, another pile of 9, and a pile of 3. This one more round tile is mixed into one of the piles of 9. Once mixed in, place this pile on top of the pile of 3, then the remaining pile of 9 on the very top. All 3 stacks are placed on the tile board. Remaining tiles are returned to the box. Mix the bonus tiles and draw a random one, placing it face up on top of the B pile. Mix the challenge tokens and place a random one face up on the C pile. Return all others to the box. Place the real estate market board in the center of the play area and place 4 of each of the suburbs, community parks, and heavy factories on the spaces indicated. Place all coins here and the tile board here. The area below this board is the real estate market. Starting with the far right, draw from the A pile and place a tile under each space on the real estate market. Mix the long border tiles and place the stack near the real estate market board. Reveal 3 and place them face up onto the real estate market tiles. After mixing these goal tiles, randomly draw the number equal to the number of players, place them face up on the real estate market board. Each player picks a color and takes their borough board, 3 wooden markers, 3 investment markers, and 1 each of a suburb, community park, and heavy factory. Players place their borough board on the table either closest to them and build up, or towards the center of the table and build down. Each player places their starting 3 tiles in a line, with the suburb in the center slot, the community park next, and the heavy factory last. Their income cylinder and reputation cube go on the starting positions marked with the small triangles. Place the population board in the center of the table and place the population squares of each player on the 2 space marked with a triangle. Each player now receives their starting $15 million and 2 random goal tiles. From these 2 goal tiles, they pick one to be their secret goal and return the other to the box. Randomly determine the first player and give them the first player marker. Your game is now set up. In Suburbia Incorporated, you are a mayor seeking to draw the most population to live within your borough of the city. Population will grow as you increase reputation, by building residential tiles, or by providing your populace with what they want by accomplishing the goals they've set for you. But as your borough grows, it becomes harder and harder to maintain. And how the other players are building up their boroughs can also affect yours. Suburbia is played over a series of rounds, with each player taking 1 turn each round. There are only 2 basic actions a player can perform on their turn. It's either to place a tile or to invest in one. Most often, you'll place a tile. There are 6 types of tiles in the game: residential, commercial, industrial, civil, lakes, and borders. These tiles come from one of 3 places: the real estate market, the basic piles, or the available borders. Most tiles will come from the real estate market, and come at a cost. Each tile has their cost printed on the left corner, and depending on its location in the market, an additional cost may apply. If you want to buy this fancy restaurant, it would cost $9 million for the 9 printed on the tile with no additional position cost. The office building would cost $13. 9 listed on the tile, with 4 more coming from its position on the real estate market. Basic tiles come from the upper part of the real estate board. Their cost is listed on the tile, and there is no additional cost. There are only 4 of each tile available, and when they are sold out, that's it. Lastly, a player may take from the available borders. The cost of the borders is listed on the left, and there is no additional cost. Borders are powerful tiles, but are longer and awkward to work around once placed in your burrow. To build lake tiles, a player simply flips any tile in the real estate market over. You will notice that the cost of the tile drops to 0. Any position cost must still be paid. It is no longer the type of tile it was, nor gives any of the effects it would have. It is instead a lake tile with the effect listed across its black banner. Laking this parking lot means this tile is no longer a commercial tile and costs 2 to place because of its position. Borders can also be made into lakes. This too reduces their cost to 0. They are no longer considered a border, but a lake instead. Once the tile is chosen and paid for, it is placed within your burrow. Tiles must be placed adjacent to existing tiles already in your city. Hexes are adjacent if they share at least one side with another. Hexes and borders are considered adjacent if 2 sides of the hex fit within the nooks of the border tile. Borders cannot be placed to be adjacent to only another border tile. Tiles can't be placed to be adjacent to the smooth sides of a border, and the burrow board doesn't count as a tile to be adjacent to. Choose wisely on a tile's placement, for once placed, it can never be moved. After placement, all effects of the placed tile and other tiles placed earlier need to be triggered. This is done in 5 steps. First, gain the immediate effect of the icon printed in the upper right of the tile you just placed. Numbers in a white circle refer to a change in income. Move the income cylinder token up or down the number of spaces indicated. This token can never go higher than 15 or lower than -5. Numbers in a black square refer to a change in reputation. Move the reputation cube up or down the number of spaces indicated. This too can never go higher than 15 or lower than -5. Numbers in a meeple refer to your population. Move the population square token up or down the indicated amount. Population may never drop below 0. The office building we just placed shows a +1 income in the upper right, allowing us to move our income cylinder up 1 space. After the icon, make any adjustments listed on the banner across the bottom of the newly placed tile. These banners could refer to adjacent tiles, which are only those sharing any sides with the tile. The banner could refer to tiles of yours. In this case, you count all tiles in your own burrow regardless of their location, including the one you just played. The banner could use the word every. Then you count tiles in all players' burrows, including your own and including the tile you just placed. The banner on the office building says it gives +1 income for each adjacent commercial tile. The convenience store is a commercial tile and adjacent, so we get to move our income cylinder another space. Step 3 is to look at the banner effects of all tiles adjacent to the placed tile and trigger any that apply. Of the 3 tiles adjacent to our office building, the community park is the only one with an effect that's been triggered. The park gives +1 reputation for each adjacent industrial, residential, and commercial tile. The office building is a commercial tile and is adjacent, and thus we move our reputation cube one space. After looking at the adjacent tiles, we now look at the banner effects of all other tiles in your borough and trigger any effects that apply. The business supply store states that it gives +1 income for every office tile in the game. The office building shows this briefcase icon, indicating that it is an office tile. So we move the income cylinder another space due to the supply store. Lastly, your newly placed tile may affect other players' boroughs and vice versa. The final step is to check for this. The yellow player has also built a business supply store, which gives 1 income for every office tile built. Since you've built an office tile, yellow gains an income. After all effects are resolved, the real estate market is adjusted for the next player. If the tile came from the real estate market, then shift all tiles to the right to fill the gap, and draw a new tile and place it at the end of the market. If the tile wasn't from the market, say from the basic tiles or a border, the player must choose a tile from the real estate market to remove from the game. You don't pay the cost listed on the tile when removing it in this fashion, but you do have to pay any position cost. Once removed, shift all tiles and place a new one at the end. If it was a border tile that was bought, then draw an additional border tile to bring the total back up to 3. Instead of placing a tile, a player may instead invest in a tile already in their borough. A player pays the cost listed on the tile that is already in their borough from a prior round. This can include borders and lakes. The player takes one of their 3 investment tokens and places it over the cost on the invested tile. After investing, you resolve any effects that are listed on the invested tile only, as if it was just placed. This is the effect of the icon and the effect in the banner across the bottom. You do not look at any other tile for their effects. When investing in this office building, you'd gain 1 income from the +1 income icon and another 1 income from the banner effect, giving you +1 income for each adjacent commercial tile. You do not receive any effects from the community park, business supply store, or the lake. In later rounds, if an invested tile's banner effect is triggered, they are doubled. If you later build this convenience store, you'd get +1 income from itself, $2 from the lake, and 2 more income from the office building because its banner effect is doubled. A tile may never be invested in more than once, and a player can never invest more than 3 times. After investing, the player is required to remove a tile from the real estate market so a new tile can be revealed. Remember, they don't pay the cost of the tile, but they have to pay the position cost of the removed tile if there is one. Once the real estate market has been updated for the next player, the current player ends their turn by receiving money equal to their income and population equal to their reputation. Anytime you gain population that takes you beyond a red line, then both your income and reputation is reduced by 1. As your population grows, the frequency of the red lines increase, making it harder and harder to sustain the large population. If the player's income is negative and they do not have the money to pay, they lose 1 population for each million they are unable to pay. If their population has dropped to 0, then nothing further occurs. If the player's reputation is negative and they have no population to pay, then they lose $1 million for each population they are unable to lose. If the player has no money to pay the penalty, then nothing further occurs. If a population drop causes a player's token to move backwards over a red line, then the player gains 1 income and 1 reputation back, having now a smaller populace to manage. Play continues. adding a new tile to the real estate market after each player. When you go to add a new tile and the A pile is exhausted, you move on to the B pile, but not before resolving the bonus tile. All players who have met the requirement for the bonus will gain the appropriate income listed on the bonus tile, after which the bonus tile is returned to the box and the first B tile is revealed and added to the real estate market. Play continues around as normal until you go to add a new tile and the B pile is exhausted. You now start drawing from the C pile, but not before you resolve the challenge tile. All players who have met the requirement for the challenge will gain the appropriate reputation listed on the tile, after which the challenge tile is returned to the box and the first C tile is added to the market. When the one more round tile is revealed, give it to the player with the first player marker and then draw a replacement C tile to place in the market. When the player with the first player marker starts their turn with the one more round tile, it is their last. Everyone after them gets their one more turn and the game ends. At the end of the game, players will receive bonus population based on their leftover treasury and any goals they were able to satisfy. Red lines crossed are ignored at this point. Every $5 million remaining in a player's treasury will attract one more population. Then, public goals are rewarded. Goals can only be granted to one person. If there is a tie for a goal, then no player is rewarded. After the public goals are resolved, everyone reveals their private goals. Only the player owning the goal may gain its benefits, with ties again meaning no reward. The player with the highest population is the winner. Ties in population are broken by the player with the most reputation. Further ties are broken by the player with the highest income, and if still tied, the player with the most remaining money is the winner. If still tied after that, then all tied players play another game to determine the winner of this game. You now have everything you need to play Suburbia Incorporated. For the remainder of this video, I'm just going to draw your attention to a few of the tiles that may be a little more complex and need a little extra instruction. Some tiles may have a special icon to the right side. These are called interactive tiles. The 5 interactive icons you'll come across are airports, office tiles, restaurants, schools, and car dealerships. The cemetery is a civil building that shows a -2 population. The player must have the 2 population to lose to place this in their borough. The fancy restaurant is a great tile that provides an early +3 income. However, for every restaurant in any player's borough that is built after this one, your income drops by 1. The law office is a nice +2 income commercial building, and it allows its owner to win a goal that they have tied with at the end of the game. If the player is tied in more than one goal, the player must decide on only one goal the law office claims. Unless, of course, you've invested in it, then you can claim 2. The redevelopment planner is a very unique black tile. When placed, it counts as nothing. But later in the game, the player can replace this tile with any industrial, civil, residential, or commercial building in the real estate market at no cost. This even ignores the cost increase from its position. The free tile must be placed in the exact location of the redevelopment planner. Waterfront realty increases the money granted by lakes by 2 million. If you already have lakes in play, you will receive 2 million for each eligible tile adjacent to those lakes. Each tile placed next to a lake later will now grant you 4 million instead of 2. The casino provides +1 income every time you cross a red line on the population board. This essentially cancels out the drop of income with every red line. Water purification plant is a huge boost in reputation, but with a severe cost. For every industrial tile in the game, in all players' boroughs, you have to pay 2 million in addition to the cost of the tile and its position. If you can't pay the 7 for the tile, any position cost required, and the 2 for each industrial tile in the game, counting itself, then you may not play this in your city. If placed, for the rest of the game, when any player plays an industrial tile, you lose 2 million. If you can't pay this, you pay the remainder in population. The public relations firm works like the casino, but for reputation. Each time you cross a red line, you gain 1 reputation, canceling out the drop for crossing the line. The price of the redistricting office varies depending on the number of players in the game. In a 2-player game, it would cost 12, where in a 4-player game, it would cost 24. After placed, it removes 5 populations from all other players and gives them to you. Like the water purification plant, the desert border tile requires you to lose money for the appropriate adjacent tiles. Remember that a tile is adjacent to a border if it's within one of the 4 nooks provided on the tile. If the player is unable to pay the extra cost based on its placement, then they may not place it. Like the cemetery, the radioactive waste site causes a drop in population when placed. If the player is unable to pay the population loss, then this tile may not be played. If you have any questions about a rule or other tiles in the game, please ask them in the comments below, and I'll address them as soon as I can. Enjoy your game!